Hey, I am back! So I don't really have any other ideas right now, so might as well talk about the Nintendo DS and why I enjoy it much more than any other Nintendo consoles. The thing about the Nintendo DS is that it's a mix of all the consoles from the 5th gen, but with some new innovative elements. The Nintendo DS has the 64-bit power from the Nintendo 64, as well as the beautiful 2D visuals from the Sega Saturn, as well as the cool FMVs from the PlayStation. The only thing I wish it had was a joystick, but even then we got one on the 3DS. Also, the touchscreen and microphones really helped the developers experiment, so it allowed new ideas to be created, while other less popular genres, such as point-and-click and live sims as well as visual novels, thrived on the Nintendo DS. And these types of games pretty much influenced how the Wii resurrected light gun shooters. Needless to say, I was having a great time. I truly enjoy searching for games I haven't seen before, so I absolutely enjoyed playing the DS's library. It also compensated for all the cool stuff the Nintendo 64 didn't receive, so might as well have fun with it. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's talk about the actual DS games. So I think we should start with one of the launch titles. Yep, that was a launch title. Feel the Magic Xyxx is both the straightest and the gayest game of all time. Look at this poppy 70s art style. Look at the movements, the expressions. This is a DS game and a launch title. What the frick, Sega? Also, it's a minigame collection, but I'd argue that it's the one I love the most just because of the style. The minigames also use all of the DS's features and are very much top tier, I think. The story of the game is about a guy meeting a girl and he's in love with her but he's too shy. So the Rub Rabbits help him and the game becomes a fever dream. I like fever dreams. There's also this kind of prequel called The Rub Rabbits, which is just as insane. Also, its title in Japanese is translated to Where Do Babies Come From? What? You know what? I'm not talking about Rhythm Heaven. No, I do not enjoy the touchscreen controls that much. But those are still very neat minigames. I mean, look at the clapping monkeys. This is one of those rhythm games that inspired me to go to concerts. So I guess despite the weird voice acting...
Hey now, here is my song for you. Yeah, that's right. I wish that I was yours, but I'm too shy, I suppose.
It holds a very big place in my art. It's also kind of weird because it was made by the WAH team, who also developed WarioWare Touched, which is a very fun minigame collection, which is, it's WarioWare, you know, it's weird and it has the micro games, and I don't really have much to bring to the table for this game, so, Touch Dick! Among other weird launch titles, Pac-pix is a fun little game where you draw Pac-man to eat ghosts. We gotta find a Pac-man. Pac-man. This is a wrench! Sorry for the tangent, but I wish there was a mobile version at least of this, or maybe just a Switch remake, which would be also very appreciated. It's simple, sweet, and uses the DS's features. Another DS title that I need a mobile port of is Meteos. It's a very odd puzzle game where you attack each other's planets. And also, for some reason, it has a surprising amount of lore. And also, can you get all of these endings? But honestly, the absolute best part is that every planet that you go to has its own art style. Yes, give me more art styles. More! Also, there's a Disney version, bringing us much more closer to the Mushroom Kingdom Arts crossover. I have a Keyblade. Woohoo! Speaking of Keyblades, the DS has like 2 Kingdom Hearts games. Kingdom Hearts Recoded, which is a mobile port. Well, many people are like, oh, it's just filler. I'm like, ooh, it's just filler. But the thing is that I really like this one, mostly because you can tell that the devs were experimenting with multiple gameplay styles, so I guess that's fine enough. There is also Kingdom Hearts Monster Hunter for the Nintendo DS. I know that the actual name of the game is 355 8 days divided by 2. Yes, that is an actual game title. In this one you pretty much go on Monster Hunter like missions and you can get materials, points and level ups. Too bad you can't over level though, because all of your levels are decided by that little grid. And honestly, compared to the mission lengths of the usual Monster Hunter like games, this is actually much shorter. There are also less pieces of equipment to collect, which is a very good thing. Just like Monster Hunter, there is also multiplayer. Yay! And no, I will not talk about Kingdom Hearts' story because oh my god! Either way, we need to move on. Either way, while I love the ideas of the 2004-2005 DS games, I'd say it was in 2006 with the DS Lite when the DS went off the rails with big JRPGs as well as some big games with voice acting. I would go ahead and say that Another Code, which is a point-and-click DS game, is the pioneer of the ambition of the Nintendo DS. It uses all of the DS's features and has that big-budget cinematic flair. It might not have voice acting, but it's a start. After that we got the Nintendogs and the Big Brain Academy games and yada yada yada. But since Sing has developed that game, they have also developed Elite Beat Agents! By the way, did you know that Osu was Elite Beat Agents? By the way, Elite Beat Agents is an American version of a Japanese game called Duendan. So while Osu did not invent anything, it still made it free. Less money. Either way, Elite Beat Agents is a title where you inspire people by being secret agents and dancing to American music. Each song has its own story told in comic book panels, and it's gorgeous to look at. And the gameplay really is addictive. So addictive in fact that there are many other companies that just tripped it off. Big thank you to Disney. We're all in this together and never and never. So I think Elite Beat Agents is a very important game for the Nintendo DS, as it has shown a turning point in the DS's library, so it must be respected as such. Either way, Sonic was inspired by that for some reason and made Sonic Chronicles, an RPG written by BioWare, and it's just there. Honestly, I have many complaints about the game. While the story is very interesting and the interactions are fun to watch, I just do not like the gameplay that much. And parts of the presentations are just, oh. I don't want to talk also about the lawsuits and the stuff and so I'll just skip to Sonic Rush. Sonic Rush is a very boost-based platformer with a lot of interesting ideas, and honestly, the execution of most of them is fine. It's just that I don't really like the level designs very much. Due to the amount of pits, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But hey, we still got the funky music from Hideki Naganuma, which is already a very big plus. At least until Sonic Rush Adventure, where he isn't there anymore. Goodbye Naganuma, goodbye Naganuma. Goodbye, Naganuma. Goodbye, Naganuma. Either way, Sonic Rush Adventure is actually the one I prefer. It has a big adventure, it has a lot of activities and very nice ideas, and the story feels very much fleshed out. It even has its own Elite Beat Agents minigame. Also, hot take alert! Hot take alert! I kind of like this game's music much more than Sonic Rush's music. Probably because I enjoy more the tropical theme. I don't know. Either way, Sonic Rush Adventure also has a lot of content, so I'd easily recommend it to people. Another thing about the Nintendo DS is that it kind of had a cinematic presentation, but also visual novel style cutscenes. I mostly would thank Phoenix Wright for this. However, there was one professor who decided to push the DS to its limit. Professor Layton and the Curious Village has full-blown anime cutscenes as well as voice acting, and the point-and-click gameplay just resurrected a new genre while fusing it with brain puzzles. Brain Age doesn't have a story. I'm gonna play Professor Layton instead because it has a good story. Professor Layton also makes my brain smarter. And also, look at that attitude. Look how beautiful he is and handsome and Tumblr moment. Either way, I think the Professor Layton games are excellent and I love them. Although there is a lot of fill because you need to solve X number of puzzles before you progress later. Kind of like the medals in Sonic Unleashed, but in point-and-click format. But overall, I love the Professor Layton games, and even Pandora's Box, which is kinda underrated. Never mind, someone made a video essay on it. It is no longer underrated. Speaking of underrated, there is a Way Shuffle dungeon. The upworld sort of looks like Animal Crossing, but no, this is a dungeon adventuring game. But the thing is that these are not normal dungeons, these are shuffle dungeons.
He said it.
So basically, not only is the game auto-generated, but the dungeons shuffle. So you have to be on one specific side of the screen in order not to get carried away or risk death. But yeah, the dungeons are in 2D, but the boss battles are in 3D. Oh ho 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 ho! Also, there is a story there, but it's just not really that big. It's less about the big plot unraveling and more about restoring the town and talking to villagers. Fortunately, this game is handled by Final Fantasy veterans, so hey, you might get a kick out of it. Also, yes, this is a roguelike or something like that. But the thing is that back in the day, people didn't like roguelikes. They were all like, it's too hard, too complicated. And look at where we are now, where a lot of indie games are roguelikes. And when indie game developers started making roguelikes, people were showering them with praise. But honestly, I'd rather blame the critics than the game makers. Respect your indie developers, mate. Either way, Away is interesting and I probably need to play it again. Either way, remember Astro Boy on the GBA? Well, there it is on DS. Not made by the same developers and while clearly lacking the content of the GBA game. Yeah! If I want a 2D game though, I got Monster Tail! Yes, it is an adorable 2D game. And yes, it looks like a Sega Saturn game. And yes, I forgot to put it in my Sega Saturn video. Monster Tail is a 2D Castle Void made by a bunch of random people. You are this sweet child of yours and have been isekai'd in another world with a monster. But you discover other children that have been isekai'd and abuse their monsters. This reminds me of that one Madoka plot twist, but I shall not spoil it. Either way, this is both a Castles of Vania adventure game and a pet simulator, like the Chow Garden, but hardcore. Although critics have kind of complained that this title is too easy, but in a sea of super hard games I do not care about, this one is perfect for me. Easy recommendation, I think. Are you, perhaps, tired of modern games? Well, Retro Game Challenge turns you into a child that has to play retro games. Fake retro games that do not exist. Ooh, but the thing is that you have fake gaming magazines by your side. Gaming journalism. These game magazines are actually hilarious and well localized, and you can read them on the bottom screen while playing on the top screen. 10 out of 10 game design, GG. I absolutely love it. What I do not love is that in one of the cheat codes you need to press start instead of select, like you're told in the manual. I guess that must be a localization mistake. Oh right, that reminds me. By the minds who made Shadow the Hedgehog, Shadow of Destiny, comes an adventure called Time Allo. My sister heard of this game because of DDR, so thanks Konami. For today. Either way, on his 17th birthday, Ethan's parents disappeared. And ho, everyone acts as if they have disappeared 12 years ago. Ooh. But Ethan has a magic pen which can create a whole true time. Ooh, a whole true time. Either way, I think this is a good psychological thriller with a lot of interesting twists. Although the art direction is less London and more anime, there's also a possible bad ending if you use too much the pen. Ooh, bad endings! Either way, we move to the final title of this video, Suable Baby! By the same people who made the Naruto Ultimate Ninja game, as well as Azura's Wrath, and in its DLC comes an adventure where you are Red the Hunter, who basically does quests and stuff, and finds a mysterious girl named L. So you must use your robot thingy to accomplish more quests and progress the story. From delivering packages to flying to boss fights, Solitaire Robo has a lot of variety in its gameplay, and honestly it shows. And honestly I think the story is very well written, with one of the biggest plot twists I've experienced in a while. Fans of Sonic and the Black Knight will probably know what I'm talking about. There's even a character that's gay and flirts with Red. What I like is that he becomes a bit more serious in later missions. I still do not like the way he makes Red uncomfortable, but this was 2010. Either way, I absolutely love Solitaire Robo, but the title costs a lot, so I would maybe recommend emulating it. Or maybe CyberConnect 2 can remake it, but I doubt it. Either way, I kind of wanted to talk about my favorite game of all time, however, this video is long enough. I also want to talk about DSiWare at some point, so be prepared for that. This video was very long to make, so please like, comment, and subscribe.